What, in your view, are the fundamental differences between organisational resilience and business continuity management?
The fundamental differences between organisational resilience and business continuity management, I think firstly centre around the fact that business continuity management is a discipline, and therefore it is there to achieve very specific but limited and bounded objectives to some degree. Whereas organisational resilience is a concept, it's not a discipline. And any organisation will strive to achieve organisational resilience, but that's a concept that they have to be moving towards as an aspiration, whereas BC is very much a discipline in the approach that it takes, applying its processes in order to make an organisation admittedly more resilient, but it isn't one of the sole factors.
Do you think that organisational resilience is a concept that is more relevant to the objectives of senior management?
I think it would be unfair to say that business continuity is not relevant. It is obviously highly relevant to any organisation and critical to what they do, particularly in the light of what we've seen with Superstorm Sandy and things like that. What's interesting, I think, about organisational resilience is there is a perceptual difference in that it is more about the value of the organisation and its longevity. Where will it be in 20 years' time? Therefore, it's a concept that looks at much bigger areas that go potentially beyond, well beyond business continuity alone, and look into the culture, the ethos, the behaviours. And I think for senior management, those are very strategically interesting areas that are areas they do tend to focus on potentially more at their level, because it is about where the organisation will be in the future.
To what extent is the success of organisational resilience predicated upon a number of different disciplines working in unison, and how difficult is it to achieve that?
To achieve the various disciplines, and one could talk for a long time as to what were all the disciplines within organisational resilience, but to achieve them all working in unison is, I think, at the very essence why the concept of organisational resilience is important. At the moment, I think many would say that they exist in silos. Organisations are very good at working in silos, and it is a problem many of them face. Organisational resilience, in essence, will provide a cloak which can fit around all of the different aspects that will feed into making an organisation resilient. Therefore, business continuity, crisis management, information security, and then HR and finance and all the areas that actually go to make up a business potentially need to be brought to work together. And you can do that, I think, through a concept like organisational resilience, because its aim is to work out the touch points, the dependencies, where integration is needed if you're going to be resilient.
Is there a danger with organisational resilience that, given its all-encompassing nature, some organisations may find it difficult to grasp and to adopt?
I think hopefully not. It is a big concept, but it is central to how all organisations operate and the safety of their future. It is difficult at the moment with the information I think that is out there, sometimes for some organisations to grasp. I suspect in the future that what will happen is certainly the big organisations, the super corporations, if you like, will start to take subjects like this very, very seriously. I think in the light of incidents like the BP Macondo crisis and other incidents that are going on right now as we speak, organisations are realising that actually quite frequently they do end up facing change, unexpected change, and therefore they have to work harder at their resilience, and therefore those major organisations will take this much, much more seriously as a strategic concept that they need to engage with. It is more difficult if you come across the smaller organisations, because it does also, organisational resilience is also influenced by culture and behaviours, and that can be more challenging in some ways.
In terms of the organisational resilience white paper, what has the feedback been like, and what is the next step?
The feedback and where the next steps go for organisational resilience, I think, well, there are two parts to that really. I think one, firstly, is where the BCI wants to take it, and obviously I don't represent the BCI and can't speak on their behalf. What I can do is express where I think it could and ought to go. The feedback from the paper has been fantastic. There are a huge number of downloads of the paper when it was released, and the response, I think, today has been very, very good. We actually asked the audience, and I think we had probably over 100 people there at the time, where would they like to see it go? Would they like to see more development done in this area? Having explained to them what had come out of the paper. And I think we had a 98% response that everyone felt that this was worthwhile to be pursued as a subject. In terms of the industry, it's certainly an interesting subject for the industry in terms of its future and where things go and where the BC industry and business continuity as a discipline fits. And it would be great to see them grasp the opportunity to take part in thought leadership in this area.